has announced workshops to help reimagine our church mission and vision. There will be 4 identical opportunities to give your feedback and be part of this process. The first is today after church in the fellowship hall at 12:30. Check the newsletter to learn more. And now June Norton has an announcement that she would like to make.
Never mind, that worked.
We got some magic going on in here. My name is June Norton, and my pronouns are she and her, and I currently serve as co-chair of the hospitality team, and that's why you usually see me somewhere in or near the kitchen. But the new church year is beginning, changes are happening, and I would like to tell you about a new class that I will be facilitating for adult REs. The first class begins today, busy day today, and it will continue to meet on the 4th Sunday of each month, and it is designed to explore the great changes that are occurring in our time and the new possibilities which are emerging. This class is about trusting change. Whether we consider change as positive or negative, it always requires adaptation. Seldom are we ever in a steady state of being, but almost always becoming something, someone new and different, as yet unknown. So how can we trust change? While change is not simple, it becomes easier to trust the more we participate in it. These classes offer skills for living through change, as well as spiritual practices and inspiration for connecting with your own inner wisdom tradition. A few Sundays ago, we had a sermon on the importance of listening. We practiced listening to each other. Do you remember? Remember that? How did it feel to know that someone was truly listening to you? Was there a sense of connection, of being in relationship? The Latin roots of the word conversation mean the act of living with, to live with, or to keep company with. In a pandemic and post-pandemic world, we come inescapably face to face with the interdependence of human survival. As humans, our bodies and brains have evolved over millennia for interdependence. We are not meant to move through change alone. Learning to trust change begins with trusting others. So this calls us all into conversation to learn from one another, to keep moving even when we are uncertain, and to open our hearts and minds to the many ways that a changing world will surely change us too. The objective of these classes is to provide the opportunity for participants to develop, build, and strengthen bonds of trust, understanding, and support within our beloved church community. Just recently, Rev. Jaimie spoke in her sermon about companies and businesses issuing what, on closer consideration, might be a somewhat dubious incentive to their employees to return to work, bringing their whole self back into the office with them. Well, this is a class for your whole self. Your whole competent, doubtful, productive, discouraged, decisive, confused, hopeful, I'm on a new path, but where am I going? Weary from so much change, self. The first class will meet today about 12:15 or after the end of this service, and whenever you have had time to go by and grab your snack, your coffee, your tea. Just bring it on over to the adult RE room, and let's begin our conversation. And I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Back up it goes. After our service, everyone is welcome to join us in the fellowship hall for conversation, coffee, and snacks. Now I would like to invite Lewis Johnson to ring the singing bowl to help us enter into the service more deeply. Finally, having gathered in a shared quest for truth, meaning, and purpose, let us light our chalice with these words from Amy Carol Webb. How often we seek refuge in this sacred flame from the world's trouble and pain. Today may our lamp light the way for those who know no refuge, that we may open our minds, our arms, our hearts, our mouths to sing, "Come, whoever you are, wholly new and wholly true." And now let us enter into this morning's service more deeply with music for centering, followed by our thread song, hymn number 188.
Thread song 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We will sing it as a round. I'm going to lead part 1. Tim's going to lead part 2. We're going to sing it all together once. 1, 2, we'll sing it twice.
Ours is no caravan of
Well, good morning, friends. Welcome in. My name is Reverend Jaimie Dingus. My pronouns are she and her, and I serve you as the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. Welcome into this beloved community. In this sacred space, we want each of you to feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually safe to worship, learn, and explore. And today in our service, we're going to think a little bit about that physical safety piece throughout our service. And as a reminder, from time to time, we practice different safety protocols like fire drills. So in the unlikely event of a fire, we would know what to do if we were here at church and that happened. So if, for example, today at the end of our service, we were to have a fire drill, perhaps, here's what you would do. If you are my friends here up on the choir, you are going to go down the ramp, and if you need an accessible exit path, if you use a mobility aid, you're definitely going to want to go through these doors, out Fellowship Hall out front. If you're towards the back of the sanctuary and walking is something that you're able to do and stairs is something you're able to do, you're going to go that way, out the doors towards the parking lot. Ideally, everyone is going to get out to the parking lot, and you know our big Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville sign on the grass between the two trees? That's where we're all going to go. So meet up there. If you have a child who's in our CYRE program, they are going to be with their teachers, and their teachers are going to help them out to the backyard where they will be a good 100 feet away from our building and safe. They will do a round of attendance, and then they'll come meet you at the sign. So if for some reason a fire drill were to happen, that's the basic idea. Now let's settle in for worship with these centering words from Karen LeBlanc. This is not just a place of worship. This isn't just a fellowship of like minds. This isn't just a Sunday morning filled with spirit and topped off with coffee and cookies. This is our church, our congregation where we are building beloved community, where we are opening ourselves to each other, where we trust and love, rise and fall together. This is where we feel safe. This is where we build safety for each other, where we know we are welcomed. This is where you belong this morning. Thank you for being with us as we enter more deeply into worship. And as we begin this service that honors the many ways we prioritize safety in our community, we remember that love should keep us safe, and love is the grounding of the ways we strive for safety. Will you please rise with me in body or in spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn? It's number 1029 in your teal hymnal, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear. Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and impart. Love knows to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. Each week following our first hymn, we remain risen in body and spirit, and we sing our doxology, and then we speak in unison our words of aspiration. And during that piece, we turn and face each other so we can say those words of promise to one another. Let's sing our doxology. May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To love each other in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. You may be seated, and now I'd like to invite forward our children and youth and anyone who wants to join Kristen for our story for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Kristen. I am the Director of Religious Education here at UUCH. My pronouns are she and her. And Rev Jaimie, I'm very sorry for this, but I have a few announcements to make. I know we're trying to not do that. I'll try to make this the last time. I would just like to remind you all, and I am going to have flyers available in the lobby next week, that we are planning very much for our trunk or treat. There will be 2 bounce houses. There will be face painting and games and music and candy. So if you have anywhere that you know of in your own community or neighborhood that you would like to post it, you can feel free to take a few. And also, while you're at it, you can go to the Sign Up Genius that's listed to sign up, because we're trying to get an idea of how many cars and how many trunk or treaters to expect, so that we can plan a little bit better. Okay, that's it. I'm done with announcements. Thank you. All right, so today, everyone, our Jewish friends during this time of year are getting ready to celebrate the Jewish New Year. And so the 2 holidays that they have before that are Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And I'm so sorry if I really tried hard. I'm sorry, guys. I hope I pronounced that. I got it? Okay. All right. And what they do is they like to start off the new year with a clean slate. One of the ways they do that is by apologizing, forgiving, making amends, so that they can enter the new year with a nice clean slate on their relationships. Has anyone ever carried something really, really heavy, like a big bag of rocks? You did?
Yeah.
What? Was it hard?
It was a scooter heavy.
That is heavy.
I carry a heavy rock because Carson made me.
Okay, yes. And what about you?
I carry Mom.
You did. Well, that you must be very strong. But it was hard to do that, right? Could you really focus on anything else? Could you think about anything else? Yes.
I with Monte and the plant and mommy.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to get back to some of our questions later, but I just have this story to read, and it is called What If Nobody Forgave? And there are no pictures, so use your imaginations. Yes. Yes. In a land far away, a wise old man who knew a great deal about people because he traveled from place to place arrived at a strange village. In this town, all the people were carrying what seemed to be like great bundles on their backs. They couldn't look around very well, and they never looked up because of the heavy burdens they carried. Puzzled, the wise old man finally stopped a young fellow. "My good man, I am a stranger to your land. I'm fascinated by these large bundles you all carry, but you never seem to put down. What is the purpose of that?" Oh, these," answered the young fellow in a matter-of-fact way. "These are our grudges." Do you all, anyone down here, you know what a grudge is? It's when, maybe. Okay, so let me just cover it for you real quick. A grudge is like when you're really angry about something and you don't let it go. You just continue being mad and angry. Okay. "My," said the wise old man, "that's a lot of grudges to collect at your age." "Oh, they're not all mine. Most of them are passed down in my family." The young fellow heaved a weary sigh. "See that man over there? I have quite a load of grudges against his family. His great-great-great-great-grandfather called mine a horse thief when they both wanted to be elected mayor." The wise man looked around and shook his head sadly. "Y'all look so unhappy. Is there no way to get rid of these burdens?" We've forgotten how," said the young fellow, shifting his load a little. "You see, at first, we were proud of our grudges. Tourists came from miles around, but after a few years, Grudgeville became a dreary place. Nobody came. And after a while, we forgot how to stop holding the grudges." "Well, if you really want to get rid of those grudges," said the wise old man, "I think I know 5 magic words that will do the trick." "You do?" asked the fellow hopefully. "That would be a miracle. I'll go and have the mayor call the people of Grudgeville together." And off he went as fast as his grudges would let him. The mayor lost no time calling the people to the village square. The mayor and the wise old man stood on a platform where they could see all the hunched-over villagers. When the people had quieted down, the mayor said, "Good people of Grudgeville, a wonderful thing has happened. A very wise stranger has come into our town. He says he can tell us the magic words that will rid us of these grudges we have carried for generations. How many of you would like to be able to straighten up, have your grudges disappear, and look at the world in a whole new way? Listen to the wise words of our visitor and then do as he tells you." My friends, these are simple words, yet some people find them very hard to say, said the wise stranger. "I think you have the courage to speak them. The trick is that you must say them to each other and actually mean it. The first 2 words are I'm sorry. Can you say that? I'm sorry. Very nice. The other 3 are I forgive you. Can you say that? I forgive you. If the other person is deserving. I just wanted to slip that in there. And you guys will learn that different when you grow up, but we don't have to forgive people. That's all right. Back to the story. Whew. There was a long pause, then a low grumble from the townspeople. First one person and then another said the words. Soon they were all saying them to each other, quietly at first and then louder, And then, would you believe it? Just like the wise man predicted, the grudges disappeared. What joy there was in the town. People were heard saying, "Oh, look at how those trees have grown. I haven't looked up in ages." And, "Is that you, Jim? How good to see your face." There was dancing in the streets, and that day, it wasn't long before, the mayor changed the name of the town to Joytown. That is the end. All right, thank you everyone so much. Right now we are going to sing our children off. Children, we are going to meet in the music room. Thank you.
UUCH's mission is that our inspirational, challenging, and diverse ministries will foster lifelong spiritual seeking and growth, strengthen the bonds of our community, support strong social justice action, welcome diversity, and let people know we are here. If you would like to support us with a monetary contribution, we would be very grateful. Your generosity helps us to keep the lights and air conditioning on, maintain our building and grounds, run our various ministries, pay our staff a fair wage, and support organizations that share our UU values. You can donate online using the QR code on your order of service, or you can put cash or check donations in the offering baskets. Completed Circle of Candles cards, this, should also be placed in the offering baskets at this time. You are invited to come forward during this time and quietly drop a stone into the bowl of water here next to the ramp in order of or in memory of what you hold in your heart. It is through your generosity that we continue to serve our mission here at UUCH. With gratitude, we now receive the offering.
Friends, will you join me now for a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer? Spirit of life, Spirit of safety, Spirit of this hour, join with us in this time as we share with one another what is on our hearts, our joys, our sorrows, important milestones. This morning, we hold up in community these joys and concerns. We lift up in love and care the life of former UUCH member Stan Brockway. Stan is at the end of his journey, and we send him and his family our love as he makes his final transition on hospice. This morning, we send our blessings to our Jewish neighbors who are celebrating Yom Kippur, the Jewish New Year. Linda Lamity shares a joy that her sister Elaine, who recently suffered a stroke and a lengthy hospital stay, has returned home to continue her therapy. Blessings for Elaine. Deb DeLacy shares a joy that she is so excited that the choir is back and singing this Sunday, for they add such an uplifting spirit to our service. And I've been asked to say the chick with the pink hair has an especially amazing vibe. Flirting through the prayer cards, Deb. I like it. When joy appears. All right, dear ones. And one last joy and sorrow and everything in between from our friend Angela Arnold. 2 life-changing things happened for her on the same day last week. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and she retired from NASA. Still deciding whether or not these are joys or sorrows, probably both and, but she is glad to be able to move forward. Also, she asks us to keep George Fletcher in our thoughts as he meets with a cardiac surgeon on Wednesday. So we hold Angela and George in our hearts. Spirit that moves within and among us, thank you for holding these joys and sorrows with us. Let us be reminded of all that remains silent in our hearts, and let's take a few breaths together. Breathing in peace, breathing out love. Blessed be and amen. Let's sing together. Our reading this morning is from the book Defund Fear by Zach Norris. It's called A Culture of Care. There are 2 ways, Zach says, to think about safety. There is a fear-based way and a care-based way. The fear-based model defines safety only in terms of being free from crime and criminals, which is limited and limiting. What I call the framework of fear. And that employs 4 key elements: systematic deprivation, extensive and expensive systematic suspicion, cruel punishment, and often permanent isolation from the rest of society. That framework of fear has led to the traumatization of not just individuals who've been targeted, dehumanized, and criminalized, but the traumatization of entire communities. Because trauma is as much a chief cause of violence as the result of violence, our current fear-based system paradoxically generates more harm than it prevents in a never-ending cycle of trauma. This moment presents the opportunity to take action toward a culture of caring and policies of caring instead of that culture of fear. A culture of care prevents many harms from happening in the first place by investing in a social safety net, resources, by building our capacity to relate to one another across differences, relationships, and by increasing our sense of skin in the game with more vibrant engagement on every level. Care-based safety also means we address harms in ways that hold people accountable and bring about healing through accountability. Safety is not tied to our capacity to watch our neighbors, but rather based on our capacity to truly look out for one another. We are safer when we act together than when we let ourselves be divided. And now I'd like to invite our choir forward to share our anthem, Welcome, Welcome. Thank you, choir. Another note for you all. Throughout our service, our safety team is going to have some planned interruptions that will help us remember what we might do in the case of an actual emergency happening in our sanctuary. These are planned, nothing bad is actually happening. And if for some reason you have an emergency unrelated to our skits, please come up and let me know, because we expect some interruptions but wouldn't be expecting that. All right, that is my trigger warning announcement for this sermon. Am I safe here? Ultimately, that is a question our bodies and hearts wonder as we move throughout our lives. Am I safe here? Am I safe in my home and my work and my relationships? Am I safe to express myself, to dress the way I please, to share my truth with the world? Am I safe to make mistakes and to try again? Am I safe to be vulnerable or risk-taking? Am I safe to relax and rest? Am I safe here? Friends, we are seekers of safety. We build structures and infrastructures to keep ourselves safe. We wear helmets and seatbelts, and we stay cognizant of our surroundings. We look both ways before we cross the street. We follow rules and guidance to maintain our safety. We draw boundaries around ourselves and those we love to maintain safety. And as a way to cope with our need for safety, we go as far as pretending to ignore the safety needs of others in order to protect those of our own. And ultimately, we know our world is not inherently safe. Natural disasters, random accidents, arbitrary health issues, human cruelty, so much is beyond our control, and yet we are still seeking for safety. We seek that safety for our physical bodies, for our emotional lives, and for our spiritual lives. We crave it. Zach Norris, who is the author of that UUA Common Read book, Defund Fear, that we quoted before the choir anthem, Zach sets up a safety paradigm that we can either embrace a culture of fear or a culture of care. He suggests that true safety is achieved when we nurture that culture of care that centers on prevention, relationship, and accountability. And in Norris's larger work, he's looking at alternatives to our criminal justice system. He's looking at alternatives to policing and other kinds of systems that might build a different kind of safety. In his work, prevention, relationship, and accountability have specific relevance to safety as it relates to crime, policing, and punishment. His thinking is fascinating, and it's a really good read. It explores the way race and class and identity impact experiences of safety. And yet I think this vision of a culture of care is something even bigger. So how can we, here in our community, embody a culture of care? Let's return to these building blocks, to prevention, to relationship, and to accountability. How may we use these to help us truly realize safety for ourselves, mind, body, and soul? The first is prevention. Prevention is identifying where and how harm can happen and putting adaptations, training, warnings, and protocols in place to stop that harm. Our friend Shalene on the safety team reminded me this week that prevention and preparation are keys to resiliency. That is, knowing what to do and feeling empowered to do the right thing in a frightening situation helps us move through our fear and move toward courage and stability. We want to feel safe in our communities and our relationships and our world. So we must prepare and prevent what harm we can so that when harm inevitably comes, we know we've done our best and we feel a little bit more able to bounce back. We practice prevention in lots of ways here. Our little food pantry exists to help prevent hunger in our neighborhood. We keep contraception and Plan B in our bathrooms to help people prevent situations where they're not enthusiastically adding to their families. We sing and pray and question together because in our faith lives, spiritual practice is our tool for harm prevention. What do you do to prevent harm for yourself and those around you? Dear ones, I care about your safety. I care that your body is safe and that your future is yours to decide, that your mind is calm and quiet. This culture of care practiced through prevention and preparation is key to our collective thriving. May we practice and prepare and prevent so that overall harm is lessened and so that we might bounce back when it does occur.
But Jaimie, I just got a notice on my phone saying there's a tornado in the neighborhood.
A tornado in the neighborhood? Oh my goodness, safety team. What would we do in such a situation?
Well, hello everyone. As you can see on this board, in a weather emergency, we would, one, remain calm. Just like, as Jaimie said, if you have some planning and preparation, you have more resiliency and less reason to be fearful. We would heed also the safety team's guidance. And I'll flip to the next one. There we go. What we would do specifically, thank you. We move to interior rooms. This would be the kitchen, the office, the bathrooms, the music room. Let's see what else. I believe there's 1 or 2 classrooms. So there are some places for us to go. We need to proceed there carefully and look out for each other. Buddy system is going to help a lot here, especially for those that need a little help traversing the path.
Wonderful. Thanks for keeping us safe in the event of a weather situation. Thank you. So the second pillar of our culture of care is relationship. We know that we cannot be fully safe alone. We've reflected a lot on how our world likes to encourage isolation and independence and how that is a fatal flaw. We teach the buddy system, like Shalene just mentioned, to our littlest friends and to everyone in our community, so that when we move from place to place, we have a person to rely on. And we rely on relationships with each other to find safety. And yet, who among us has not been hurt in a relationship, right? I think we all have. Who's been let down by a friend? Who's been made to feel embarrassed or less than by a caretaker who should have known better? Who's experienced betrayal or been left by someone who had promised to be there? Relationships, we know, are simultaneously the places that protect us from harm and the places where some of the deepest and most long-lasting harm can occur. And so we make it a point in our spiritual community to practice healthy relationships. Church is the place where we can practice what it is to be human. It's the place where we teach our kids about apology and forgiveness and about when it's okay to not apologize and forgive. It's the place where we teach about healthy relationships, about consent, and about how to be good and compassionate to every person we meet. Though the risk of relationship is high, the reward is great. In our human search for safety, may we center healthy, loving relationships, joyful, mutual relationships, and generous, caring relationships in everything we do. Oh no. Friends, it seems that Treo has fallen down in the aisle. Safety team, what would we do?
Hello, everyone, again. So in this medical emergency, we would, one, support the ill, the one whoever's having the emergency.
June, you're close by. Would you mind coming towards Treo to support him?
And specifically, I would say, if in the case that they are dizzy or unable to stand, to help them to just make sure that if they do fall, to let them down easy. Otherwise, to remain calm. Again, we have a safety team and some precautions, procedures to take. And also make room for the safety team and those that are going to be coming in to perform any first aid necessary. That's kind of the first stage. Whoops. The next would be to support the safety team themselves. In the case that they might need some medical information that you might have about the person that's taken ill, or to run over and maybe grab an AED or to help perform first aid. And finally, we would basically support logistics. So like I said, in the case that The emergency services is needed to be called to, again, grab the AED, which, by the way, is right past the doors over here, to help move the ill or to maybe just flag down the EMTs as they come through and lead them towards where they need to go, where the patient is. That's it. Thanks.
Wonderful. We will prioritize healthy relationships of care when we experience unplanned illness in our sanctuary. Thank you, Trejo, for being a wonderful actor. And the last feature of a culture of care is accountability. We cannot have safety without accountability. Our need for safety is predicated on our understanding that the world is not always safe and that harm can and will occur, and that healing from harm is the road back towards safety. I was at an ordination last weekend celebrating a dear friend, and I was talking with my minister colleagues, and we talked about how that need for accountability within ministry and within our denomination is something that's been recently addressed. So at the request of ministers and church leaders, the Unitarian Universalist Association has posted a public record of every minister who's been removed from service because they violated their commitments. That's a new step towards accountability in our movement. It is not enough to just stop someone from committing harm in the moment. There needs to be a record of that harm and a trail so that those who can no longer be trusted with power cannot be given it back by an unsuspecting community. Similarly, in our congregation, we are held together by our church covenant. These are our promises and our aspirations of how we will be together, and they hold us accountable when we fall short. Each of us will make mistakes and cause harm. That is a reality of being human. I know I do it from time to time, but by leaning into the work of accountability, we can create pathways forward where safety and relationship can be restored. May we be open to the transforming power of accountability so that harm may be healed and prevented in the future. We have a disruptive person in our sanctuary. Safety team, how might we react if such a thing happened?
Hello again, everyone. For a disruptive visitor, one of the things, again, is to remain calm. Also to make room for a safety team to respond. Safety team will engage. In general, avoid engaging yourself, especially if you don't know the person. Additionally, and this is some real talk, be less visible to the person making disruption. It's attention that they seek. Pull that away, and it tends to de-escalate the situation. And by the way, de-escalation is really would be the first step that the safety team would be taking. And of course, protect yourself and protect others. As a lot of us know about the airline safety videos, put your mask on first. Be aware of yourself and your immediate surroundings, and protect yourself, and then protect others.
Thank you, Shalene. Thank you, Leah, for being our visitor this morning. Any of these situations are something that we could and may experience as we are gathered together in community. It matters that we remember how to respond, that we practice that accountability, that good relationship, and all of these principles of care as we do this work. So friends, it has been a little bit of an unconventional day. We've intentionally disrupted our worship to prepare and prevent future harm. We've thought together about how we might faithfully respond to a variety of safety concerns. We've put into practice our belief that while some danger is inevitable, our preparation can lessen the harm caused by it. And we've centered our sacred search for safety on our culture of care. Let's prevent what we can. Let's nurture safe relationships. Let's be accountable when we must and hold accountability for those around us. And let's never forget love all along the way. Blessings and amen. And now let us sing our closing hymn. It's number 368, Now Let Us Sing. And this is a song in 2 parts. So if your voice tends to go on the higher end, you'll be one part and you'll sing with me. And if you're more of a lower voice, you'll follow Tim and y'all go first.
We have our choir split too, just to help out.
Fabulous.
The lower voices will follow kind of that part of the choir, and the higher voices follow this one. Now let us sing,
Sing to the power of the
sing,
faith
sing.
within.
Now let us sing, sing. Lift up your voice, we're not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing,
Sing to the power of the
sing.
hope within.
Now let us sing,
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Now lift your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the love within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the joy within.
Let us now take a moment to extinguish our chalice with these words adapted from Michael J. Tino. The flaming chalice was first used by the Unitarian Service Committee as a symbol of life-saving refuge for people fleeing persecution in Europe. As we extinguish this chalice, let us take with us the love that called people to put their lives at risk to save others. May we be vessels of life-saving welcome.
Thank you all. Our friends, our service now comes to a close. For those on live stream, thank you for being with us. After service today, we know we have coffee in Fellowship Hall. We have Transforming Change workshop down at Adult RE. I'm doing a Mission Vision workshop at the end of Fellowship Hall. It's a big day, and there's choir practice. So stick around. And remember that you are loved, you are safe, you are sacred. Oh no, what's happening? It's a fire drill. Act appropriately.